NXT Takeovers in the rearview mirror. NXT has the injury bug, but NXT UK has more Heritage Cup action. It's your boy Flobo. This is Draped and Goalie Unofficial NXT and NXT UK post show. If you're on that Twitch, do me a favor, hit that like and follow right now. This program, much like other programs in the Flobo Network, is being presented by GMRware, GMRware.com. Now, I am not alone. I'm with my tag team review partner, the man, the myth, the legend. He hosts our sister show, AEW's Elite of the Week. Give it up for the real man here, Jack Farmer.
Hey, that's me. How's it going, Flobo? We had a really good couple shows to talk about today. I'm excited. We got 3, if I do my math right.
that's high math. Yeah. A lot of things going on with UK and NXT, but just real quick off the top, NXT Takeover 31, because I guess with no new locations, they just have to say the numbers now. Overall thoughts about that show? I mean, it was very impactful, very hard-hitting, but how does it stack up in 2020, in your opinion?
I thought it was one of those shows that we'll look back on as a show that really made a lot of people. For me personally, I believe Damian Priest became a made man at that show. I think Kyle O'Reilly became a made man at that show. I think a lot of people became made men at that show, and that's what we'll remember it for. Is maybe Kyle O'Reilly didn't win, maybe Damian Priest just continued what he was doing, but now it feels bigger and more important.
So we're about to talk about this a little bit later, but NXT is now riddled with injuries, no pun intended. Does it matter now with the people who are made? Like, I thought Kushida had a nice coming out party, but would he have been given a shot if so many people weren't on the shelf or on the injured reserve, as they say in other sports?
Kushida's another guy that just feels like a made man to me after TakeOver and the way he dominated Velveteen Dream. For me, you look at sometimes people get injured, and because of that, other people get shots. And you can say they only got their shot because of this or because of that. But that's what being fortunate's all about. It's being prepared when opportunity knocks. And he's prepared when opportunity is knocking. So I'm not going to fault him for being ready, willing, and able when they came to him and said, hey, can you step up and step in?
Just real quickly, do you think Dream is done?
No.
Seeing how he lost. Okay. And
no.
Another quick question for you. Kyle O'Reilly pretty much impressed, right, in his match against Finn Balor. Now, people are saying that maybe the UE should shift its focus to Kyle to keep the longevity of that faction. Thoughts, Jack Farmer? Thoughts?
You can't deny Kyle O'Reilly anymore. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what the future holds for that group, but especially with a draft looming over the brand and whether or not are they going to be a part of this draft. I know we have our arguments about what NXT means to the WWE umbrella, but I say it doesn't look very good if people can be drafted from them, but not drafted to them, if you get my meaning.
I am not sure if NXT talent are going to move in the draft, but there are 2 draft pools that were released for SmackDown tomorrow and Monday Night Raw on Monday, and no NXT talents are on it. But it said after the draft, anyone is considered a free agent, so it kind of covers itself both ways in that way. So I don't know how to interpret that. So, meh. My professional opinion is that
the professional opinion.
Are you excited for draft week though? Are you a pro draft guy, or how are you feeling about that?
It's the draft always comes with a little bit of a grain of salt, I think, in that sometimes it feels like you're giving up opportunities for people that might have a chance to start standing out. In other cases, you're like, this may give someone the chance to freshen up and have new life somewhere else. I'm excited about it because things get a little crazy during draft time and you never know what's going to happen and new things start happening. And so that's always interesting. And I feel like the WWE right now really needs something fresh and needs to freshen things up. Things have gotten a bit stale and I don't think it's necessarily their fault. Obviously the world is going through some things right now. And so I think this will be nice for them to freshen things up. I've said before, though, at this point with what's going on and with no crowds and everything else that's happening, I would be okay with them just combining the rosters for the time being until they start traveling again. But that's just me.
That is a hot take. As hot as a cup of Broster's coffee, is it, Jack? Tell me more about that goodness.
Well, there's nothing quite as hot as a fresh cup of Broster's coffee, which is single origin organic beans roasted weekly from Rome, New York. Support small businesses and go to www.thebroasters.com. When you use promo code BROCODE1, you get a discount and some swag as well. Flobo, you know me. I don't like the generic, boring, lame stuff that just doesn't tickle my fancy. If you're someone who likes your fancy tickled, go to www.thebroasters.com and use promo code BROCODE1. Get yourself some of their coffee. They even have decaf if you're a psychopath that likes non-caffeinated coffee. I'm talking to you, James Lott Jr. But go there, enjoy it, have some fun. Broasters Coffee.
I am definitely going to show them that. He's going to be like, what? I thought me and Jack were cool. That's it. No more extra connections for you.
He's the only one I know that drinks decaf coffee. What kind of crazy person are you to do that?
I don't know how he does so many things without caffeine. Let's talk about what happened across the pond today. NXT UK, the Thursday afternoon delight for us here on the West Coast. A lot of decent issues happened, and the Heritage Cup had a match with it. But first, I want to start with that ending segment. Kaylee Ray had a State of the Union for the NXT UK Women's Division. My takeaways were many. I want to know what you thought about this, having this queen being surrounded by her subjects, and they're violently saying, you ain't that great.
So I love Kaylee Ray. I love her come and get me attitude. She is in complete control of this division, and she is playing the NXT UK Women's Division like a bunch of fiddles. She may have taken a few shots today, but let me tell you something. Right now, she has made sure that division stays a powder keg. And as long as it is, they're never going to be able to focus on the person with the title, meaning they're never going to be 100% when they face her, whoever it is. And they're always going to have someone chomping at their own heels before they can chomp at hers. Kaylee Ray, she is running this division in such a smart way, and she is doing the exact things you need to do to make a record-long title reign last even longer.
Oh, please, record-long title reign. It's a giant asterisk in the shape of a coronavirus cell. Are you kidding me? Come on! I'm not a fan of Kaylee Ray, and I've said that before on a bunch of shows. There's nothing wrong. I guess she does her job as a heel correctly, because I'm like, nah. But I don't know. It was kind of interesting to me to have faces and heels out there at the same time. It looked like it was going to be like a common threat. But then the infighting started, and then it was a giant schmaz. The commentary said it broken down like 4 times. So I don't know what to make of this.
Well, it broke down is what happened. So, but it was, but listen, you can put asterisks next to anything. It doesn't mean it's not necessarily true. She is the longest reigning champion, and it's doing things like this. Look, whether you're a ne'er-do-well or a goody two-shoe, you want a shot at that title. So what do you do to prevent everyone from coming at you? You get them all stirred up. You get them going after each other, and that's exactly what happened today. It doesn't matter what side of the train tracks you happen to be living on in that world. You want to get at her, but you can't because everyone's trying to get through the door at the same time. Everyone's log jammed. She's going to hold on to that title for a very long time. I don't know who's going to take it from her because she's outsmarting everybody.
Well, my suggestion, judging by today's results in the tag team match, you had Zaya Brookside, Danny Luna against Amale and Ian Samuels, was why not give Zaya a shot? Of the 4 ladies here, I thought they were pretty much in the middling of their standings, but Zaya's impressed. She's able to wrestle with people, different weight classes. She's young, youthful, unique look. Maybe she should be #1 contender.
Didn't she just lose a shot at the title?
Last week she lost her match, but she didn't get a title shot like that quickly.
Oh, so listen, Zaya Brookside, I think that she was talking backstage before this big melee happened at the end of the show, and she talked about how Kaylee Ray was making a lot of people upset backstage. And I'm going to say something to Zaya right now. What she needs to do is understand, if you want to be at the top of the division, if you want to be a champion, guess what? You're going to have to ruffle feathers and make people upset backstage. That's how you do it. You don't get to be everyone's best friend and be the champion at the same time. That's why she's not winning matches. That's why she could barely get through this tag team match until it was a handicap match. She needs to understand that you don't get to be all smiles and lollipops and be the best in the world. This is a conflict business. And if she wants to be the champion and be in those spots that you're talking about, about. She can't be worried about upsetting people, Flobo. She just can't.
First of all, you're confusing her with the other NXT wrestler, Candy Floss. And two, I can't believe you cut a heel promo about getting ahead. You're the Bill Belichick of this thing. I can't believe you, Jack. I believe you.
I'm gonna have a cut-off sleeve sweatshirt soon.
Sorry, Subway commercials. I suppose you're right, but seeing the talent out there in the ring now, we talked about how stacked the women divisions are in the NXT brand. And the UK is no different, but it does seem there's a lot of people who could be number 2 contenders, number 3 contenders even. Just kind of see who will be number 1. That's my thing.
I'm looking at Nina right now. The way she performed in that match, in that tag team match early on, I thought she did great. She looked good. Now, one thing I will not accept is walking away from match. I get wanting to be the center of attention. I get wanting to have the whole thing based around you. But at the end of the day, accepting the loser's side of the purse is unacceptable to me. I didn't like that. But other than that, I thought both her and Amel came off looking strong, came off looking tough, and looking like they could handle themselves against anybody. I would peg Nina as the next that should get a shot.
Oh, man, that's a hot take. I'm going to cook that out for you. I want to give all these people all your hot takes and see if they come in. It comes to fruition. And then you'll be in the ring one week, and then like James Judy will come out, and
right?
Will come out. I didn't know.
I didn't know. This wasn't a good idea. I take it back.
Let's talk about the Heritage Cup tournament, second round, which is kind of weird. It did 2 matches from the same side of the bracket. We got Flash Morgan Webster, the Mod Father, taking on A Kid. I guess an upset in that case. I thought that Flash Morgan Webster would have been the guy to go over, but 2 weeks in, man, 2 of these Heritage Cup matches. Do they work for you? Do they not? How you feeling there as newer fan to NXT UK?
Yeah, overall, just a quick shout out to Flash Morgan Webster. I loved this guy. I think he has that cool kind of throwback old school Daredevil look. He has like what I imagine if the Rolling Stones were modern day pro wrestlers, that's what they would be, a Flash Morgan Webster. So sign me up for him. I liked it. I was bummed out he lost, especially to A Kid, who I get it. He seems like he's this up and coming star, but I have a gripe, Flobo. I have a pet peeve. Something grinds my gears, and that is when anyone has a childish word in their name. I don't like the name A-Kid. I don't like the name Fallout Boy. I don't like anything where someone implies that they're a child in their name. It drives me nuts. Be a grown-up. Be a man. Don't be a kid. If you don't want to be a man, be a person. I don't know. Be a adult. Be one of those things. Don't be a kid. You sound like a child. This isn't the playground. This is where the big boys play. I hated that phrase too, for the record. And I was a WCW guy. But overall, I am really enjoying this Heritage Cup way more than I thought I was going to, Flobo. I thought when this started, I was like, I don't know what these rules are going to be. This seems weird. It seems difficult to understand. But now that we're in the second match, we're getting through it. I'm starting to get the rules a bit more. I'm starting to get the pacing a bit more. It's making these little countdown timers seem stressful. Like, oh, there's only 30 seconds in this round. Is this going to be where they get a score, a pinfall or a submission? They can break things up. You have different strategies of, hey, maybe if I'm in a submission, I tap out so I can save myself for the later rounds instead of letting my arm get broken or whatever the case is. So I don't know if anyone would just let their arm get broken.
Let me go, ref. I got it.
You'd have to be fairly tough to just handle that. But I'm really enjoying this Heritage Cup. I'm really excited to see how the rest of it goes. It's been very unpredictable. The matches have been fantastic. And I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I'd want to see this as like a regularly defended thing, but as a once a year tournament, I'm all in on it. I love it.
Oh yeah. Well, I was hot on it. Now I'm kind of more on the warm side, not in a bad way. Just want to see how it's going to work out in the later rounds and see what that means. Will it be a cup defending type deal? Can I say, you, me, the cup next week? Or it is like a tournament like the Mae Young Classic where it is like every 6 months or every year or what have you.
I'd love if they defended cup, but it was like massive and difficult to move around. It was kind of like a burden, and people were like, please, someone please face me for the cup.
please, Massa, beat me.
Please, someone take the cup from me. It's so annoying.
I want to give a shout out to the Board Gamery for tuning in to the show on Twitch. If you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, man. We're all about the community here on the Purple Brand when it comes to digital stuff. Before you get out of the NXT UK universe, because I know we had a match scheduled for next week, the one we saw teased last week. You got Ilya Dragunov and Pete Dunne against the UK half of Imperium. I want to talk to you about Saxon Huxley, because here's a guy that had a match against Volta last week, and all that meat was slapped. Walter was still victorious. Saxon basically got hit up by the NXT UK's only known jobber I can think of, Jack Stars. He made okay work with them, but I want your opinion on Saxon Huxley the second time around in his NXT UK reboot.
I love
quote and quote.
That's Saxon Huxley. First off, he really earned my respect when he faced Walter in a hard-hitting affair. And when you say hard-hitting affair and Walter together, that is no small comment. That means something. And so the fact that he was able to survive that and really take it to Walter really earned my respect. And I just fell more in love with the guy today. I wanted to see him bounce back. Now, Jack Stars was the only one bouncing around in this match, but I still felt like I think there's some mileage to Saxon Huxley. I don't know what he was like before the break, but he just seems big. He seems terrifying. He seems scary. He seems like the kind of guy that can really wreak havoc on anyone he's in the ring with. And so when I see that, I think to myself, I want to see him against anybody, because I don't know what anyone else would do against him unless you're Walter, who can actually mash him hit for hit. Outside of that, I don't know what you do with a guy that is that quick, that strong, that brutalizing, and can take that big of a pounding. How do you game plan Saxon Huxley, Flobo? What do you do?
I have no idea. Just call Walter. That's what you did. You know, I had the opposite effect. I think his show with Walter was very, very good. And I'm not sure if it's saying much about Walter or the fact that I know the stakes were lowered, because I don't think Jack Stars has won a match in the UK in the past year and a half. But I wasn't as impressed. Had a bit of Killer Cross vibes, where it was like, okay, he totally beat him. But it wasn't like, oh, what a match. So maybe I'm the wrong guy to ask there, but I guess roll him up. Schoolboys always win matches. That's how you
It's the most devastating move in wrestling history, as Simon Miller will tell you. But I get what you're saying. I want to see him. I always say this. I want to see him do something that makes me emotionally invest in him, make me care what he's doing. I get that. Right now, I think we're just learning how strong and dangerous he can be. And now we just got to wait and see who wants to step up to the plate to make it a little more personal.
Yeah, and that person is not me. Heading over to NXT Prime UK, before NXT United States, before you even get to the matches, what happened last night, Halloween Havoc is coming back? What? Question mark? It's hosted by Shotzi Blackheart, which, if that doesn't prove she has the rocket, I don't know what will. The WCW old pay-per-view name is coming back. I got thoughts on this, but I want to see what you think about having the return of Halloween Havoc.
I love it. Halloween Havoc is one of my all-time favorite pay-per-views of all time. Big, like, by a mile. I hope they find a way to bring back the large inflatable demon with the pumpkin. I hope they have the tombstones. I hope they knock off exactly what used to happen in WCW. I think right now takeovers are, with their themes, at least like special theme episodes they're doing. Well, Halloween Havoc's not going to be a takeover. It's just going to be a NXT.
Brand NXT.
But them doing this stuff, I think right now, as far as specialty shows go, no one has more fun with their shows than NXT right now. We're going to like the old In Your House kind of show, the Halloween Havoc. They still have all the great stuff that you expect from NXT, but no one else is doing as good of a job as just being like, this is a fun show. Let's have fun with this. I don't know. It's because they're able to pull from so many old Halloween Havoc, and you mentioned Slamboree is your go-to.
Please.
I'm partial to Spring Stampede because I got to go to a Spring Stampede. So
fair enough. It's different.
Yeah, I got to go to the one that, by the way, had a main event that was Hulk Hogan versus DDP versus Sting versus Ric Flair in a four-way, refereed by the Macho Man Randy Savage. Now, if that is not a phenomenal main event to go see live.
That's not PW.
It was DDP's first ever title win, by the way. It was
okay.
he's a good guy, but we booed him out of the building. It was and he turned heel after that. But but anyways, I'm excited about it. I love it, and I agree with you completely. Shotzi is perfect to host it, and she's gonna be a star if she's not already.
So I got to compare this to what's going down south in Jacksonville. AEW also has a lot of these specialty shows, even some that are on the docket indefinitely, like Blood and Guts. Is that ever happening? Who knows? Now, here's my rant, y'all. Because for as long as NXT or as long as WWE's held the WCW library, there's been clamoring. People have been saying, we want these pay-per-views back. Great American Bash came, and it went, and it came back again, and everyone's like, we want Halloween Havoc. Rico came out, it was like, War Games. Like, oh, that's great. We want Halloween Havoc. As soon as NXT says, you know what? Halloween Havoc, Twitter's like, y'all just doing it because Cody's doing it. Like, what do wrestling fans want? Do we want Halloween Havoc, or do you want to complain? What the heck, Jack?
I'm pretty tied into the AEW stuff, but I didn't see that. I just saw nothing but love for AEW, for Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, Echo Chambers. I saw nothing but love for AEW.
If you follow a bunch of AEW fans, you'll find that they love AEW.
Facts.
But no, I've seen nothing but love for it, and you're gonna find people who are like, "Oh, this has only happened because of the Wednesday Night War or the counter program." People are gonna say that. And maybe it is. I don't know. But it's still fun for me. I don't know why people look too far into things. If you're enjoying it and it's cool, who cares why it's happening? Just do it. So who cares? I don't care if it's literally because Cody Rhodes said, I want to do Halloween Havoc. And then NXT said, no, we're going to do it. If that was why they did it, I'd be like, great. I get Halloween Havoc. I'm happy. This is cool.
Yeah.
Why complain? Why complain?
Because complaining is what we do, man. And also who's complaining? My man Kushida. Started off the night with a Magic against Ciampa, which I looked at my TV guide. I unfurled it because I was using the bat flies away. And I said, hey, Halloween Havoc's not this week? You're giving me this match at the top of the hour? It must be great. But that rapscallion dream ruined everything. Look, it looks like Kushida dream has happened again, but Kushida versus Ciampa? I want more.
Man, I was shocked we got this. And I was shocked we got as much of it as we can. Ciampa, I've always said, is the Randy Orton of NXT in the sense that anything he does is important. Anything he does seems dangerous and deadly. And then when you have him go against Kushida, who right now is on this new aggressive path, wearing jeans in matches, like he just doesn't care anymore. I am loving this new aggressive Kushida. I was on the fence about Kushida for so long, at least with present day Kushida. I think this is future Kushida back, and I like future Kushida traveling back to this time.
He's not actually a time traveler.
I like this version of Kushida, and I love that he's so dangerous. I love that he had the gall to pat Ciampa on the head in a match. I popped for that so much. I loved it, and I tell you what, Kushida was this close, maybe this close to beating Ciampa on an NXT Wednesday night, as you said, not on a takeover. That never happens. And he was this close to doing it until Velveteen Dream came out and interrupted it. Velveteen Dream, again, practically got squashed at TakeOver, got torn to shreds at TakeOver, barely limped away with his arm intact on TakeOver. But Kushida, I am on board with this new version of him. I think he's dangerous. I think he's aggressive. I love aggressive wrestlers. I love the guys who go for the wins. And he's doing everything he needs to be to become the guy that we were promised he was going to be when he first stood up in the arena and they put the newly signed Kushida under his name.
I will definitely buy the merch. Again, I was just shocked to get that match so early. Like, I understand you have the roster and their injuries, we'll get to just right in a second. And you got Ciampa there waiting, going like, yo, I'm healthy. Like, oh, you guys go out there. But to do it, and to do it at that level, because some of the best wrestlers on the planet wrestle every week. And you can tell when someone's holding things back for the act break or not going full tilt because they know longer matches are happening on the card down still. But they really hit the meat out of each other. I was impressed. Now, let's talk about what's going on in NXT. Injuries are abound. We have Finn Balor with a fractured jaw. We have Kyle O'Reilly with an undisclosed condition. And Rich Holland. Rich Holland today in a match, what looks like a surrounding an angle where he's going to be working with Adam Cole, had a match with Oney Lorcan. What happened there was kind of gruesome. Quick, but gruesome. He got stretched out with a leg injury. Jack Farmer, imagine this, man. You are getting the call. They were saying we're going to make you the guy for this angle, former NXT champion, and that happens. What do you think's going through Rich Holland's mind?
I want to say first and foremost, so I didn't watch this show live. I watched it after the fact. And, of course, Twitter lit up about this injury that Rich Holland had it taken. And he was stretchered out. And nothing makes a match more tense than knowing someone's going to get hurt in the middle of it. And this was particularly tense because the match happened, it ended, then there was a brawl, that ended, then someone came out, that ended. And so the whole time you're like, oh, wait, maybe it's not that bad. Oh, maybe it's not going to be that bad. It happens. Flobo, I'm asking you. I'm asking anyone with pull in production and directing, anyone who's backstage, anything, not just WWE, not just NXT, not just AEW, not just the NFL, not anywhere else. Can we stop with the injury replays? Can we just stop? I don't need to see an injury happen over and over and over again. It turns my stomach, Flobo. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm like, especially ones like where something gets bent the wrong way or I can't do it.
What if it's an investigation? What if we don't know where he got hurt and goes, it's not like a Joe Theismann leg breaking in the middle of the field. I mean, like, what if hey, he's down. How'd he get down? Oh, a guy put a cleat to the side of his face.
You can just tell me about it later. I don't need to know. You can just tell. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. But back to your original question, man, Rich Holland, it's got to be devastating. I think he could have been the guy. I think he's got everything you want. I think the look, the size, and all that good stuff. I know he's been called Fit Finley Light by Cedric and others, and I get that. I get that. Maybe I think we just need more from him at this point. But I thought he looked so good. I thought he looked like he could have done a lot. The fact that he was throwing these guys around, I thought looked great. By the way, Lorcan and Birch, I've said it before, but those guys just have a way of, no matter how many times they get beat, always feel like a hard out. Like no matter who they face, no matter what's going on. I mean, you could have Danny Burch versus Brock Lesnar, and you'd be like, oh, Brock Lesnar's going to put his work in today. Like, for some reason, you're just like, yeah, this is going to be a tough fight. Something about those guys they
look like they're fighting the bar all the time. And the fact when you follow Oney Lorcan on Twitter, he'll say it proudly. Got my ass kicked on Raw. You're just like,
right. Huh? In all caps every time.
I'm going to kick some ass. Just kidding. I got my ass kicked.
Yeah, Lorcan's a great follow on Twitter, by the way. If you guys aren't following Lorcan, it's free to do. Just go visit him and hit follow. Yeah. Good stuff over there. But, it's got to be a bummer because getting paired with someone like Adam Cole is a kingmaker moment. I mean, Adam Cole makes every single rivalry he's in must-see TV, and everyone comes out looking amazing after a rivalry with him. So that's just got to be devastating for him. To know that that's going to get set back. Hopefully it's not as bad as we think it is. Sure. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't watch the replays. I just saw the thing happen. So it might be one of those things where something just got strained or popped and it's going to only take a few weeks to get back. Who knows? Kind of like Dexter Lumis. I can't remember what happened to him, but
fractured ankle.
So yeah, he was back in 10 weeks or something. And I won't jump the whole thing. I know you're going to talk about him, but
jump it.
It's not the end. Hopefully it's not something that's like, oh, he's out for a year. Hopefully it's not like an ACL or something that's going to be like, oh, he's gone for a long time.
Right.
It's disappointing, man.
We don't really know some of the lesser talents, but in the span of 2 months, we have lost Karrion Kross, Tegan Knox. Finn Balor is injured, but I don't think he's relinquishing the title. Kyle O'Reilly, who has not been disclosed. People are suggesting concussion, but not sure. And then Rich Holland. So I don't know if it's because of the inaccuracy of training, or how you have to modify training now. You're not going to these facilities. I don't know why that is, or if people are overworked. I have no idea, but it usually happens in baseball. If a team has a lot of injuries in a short space of time, you ask what's going on in the physio table, what's going on with the training regimen, because there's no way that, injuries happen, but never that much in a cluster. So, sad to say, wish him the best. But you mentioned Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis returned. Yeah, I like him. Looked like he was going to have himself a match with Austin Theory. Was it Austin Theory? But then Cameron Grimes got involved. Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis. We in about that or what?
So this was a whole cluster of things here for Dexter Lumis. I just want to say he's a star. He's something you got to keep. Like, he's a one of a kind person in a world where everyone wants to be the psychopath and everyone wants to be the scary, crazy guy. Dexter Lumis not only does it, he does it well, and he does it in a way no one else is able to touch. He's just got that look in his eyes, Flobo, and he's got the whole thing. One of the words that I like to use when I talk about great wrestlers and this kind of stuff is congruency. And what I mean by that is, does everything fit together? Does everything go together? And with him, it absolutely does. The look in his eyes, the way he stands so still, the way he dresses, the way he carries himself, the moves he does, it all goes together in a way that makes sense, as opposed to, he does. It's not like he just has the look when he's staring at the camera and then he's a normal guy when the bell rings. He's that guy the entire time, and that makes him so unsettling. That's a guy that I don't know what his ceiling is, but no one has a Dexter Lumis except for NXT.
Very unique look, very unique size. Here's someone that I can easily see being North American champion. Do you see him as being an NXT champion?
It's going to depend on the thing that he's going to have a tricky part doing is connecting with us, because he doesn't talk. And if he talks, I think it would ruin him. So how do we connect with him as viewers? Because it's weird. We all seem to like him, even though he's terrifying. I don't know why we like him. We shouldn't like him. But we do, I think, because he's so good at what he does. So I don't know. I think that trick in getting to that next level will be to find a way to connect with us without changing who he is. I look at guys like The Undertaker, who are very similar in that way of not talking, very congruent, that terrifying stare. He had pallbearer. Now, I'm not saying that we should go have someone, yes. I'm not saying that they need to pair him up with someone, because I feel like that's always kind of a cheap out, is to be like, oh, give him a manager or have someone talk for him. But he needs to find a way to do what The Undertaker did, and that is find a way to communicate with us without having to get on the microphone all the time. That's going to be the big trick on whether or not he's a potential United States or North American champion, or if he's a potential world champion somewhere.
It's funny because, like, if Dexter Lumis was from Japan, you would say, well, he can't cut a promo, so we're going to write him off. But it is interesting how he's able to convey and have enough charisma for us to care about what Dexter is doing without saying that much. Yeah, he draws on his Instagram. He doesn't quite blink. He looks like a serial killer in the classical sense, because not anymore, but he used to come out with a giant fisherman's apron, and he used to have like the thing in eyes. But there's something to say about the nuance of the nonverbal. Like, I watch The Boys, and one of the more popular characters behind Homelander is Black Noir. He doesn't speak at all. Oh, spoiler. He doesn't speak at all if you ever watch that show. And I wonder that, like, conveying emotions, conveying an action without saying a word, I mean, that could be his strength. He could be the one of the few people that, I mean, granted, if you wanted to be NXT champion, you have to cut a promo. But at the North American title division, he doesn't say a word.
Do you have to cut a promo, though? Again, I talk about that congruency. There's certain things he does, like he doesn't just look at the camera. He gently strokes the ropes in a creepy way. He does all these little things constantly. Like, he's not just doing little things. His whole body is doing creepy things, and that's what makes him different. And that's why I don't think it's if he came from Japan, he can't cut a promo thing, because it's his entire being that is this thing, this Lumis character that's terrifying. And it's different than just being I'm a talented person from another country. It's I am a force. I am something that you can't, whether you can understand me or not, you can't deny.
See, I'm glad you said that, because God rest his soul, Dusty Rhodes would say, you gotta live the gimmick, baby. Yeah.
Yes.
But let's compare that to the return of Ember Moon. Now, Ember Moon was a former NXT champion returning back to NXT through a series of vignettes. Her debut was kind of middling in my opinion. I'll give you a chance to speak about that. But tonight, or last night, she got in the ring, and she had a chance to have a bit of a manifesto. And for me, watching at home, someone who's been an NXT fan since 2007 proper, I went back and watched all the other episodes, so I'm caught up. I didn't quite hit for me. I felt like whereas someone like Dexter lives the gimmick, Ember is telling me the gimmick. Am I being a hard butt, Jack Farmer?
You're being a hard butt just because I like saying it. So it's interesting, because I was watching this promo and I think I get what you mean, but it's weird. Ember Moon's voice is great. She has a great speaking voice. Her cadence is great. Her energy is great. Her look is great. But it doesn't feel like it all fits together. And I think like certain things like the Ember's Law thing and saying that it's corny before you say it and then reiterating that it was corny is telling me like, why did you tell me something if you know it's corny? You don't believe your words, and we talk about congruence, and that's why this is that's why you're so good at your job, because you're segueing from one thing to the other. I think the thing missing from Ember Moon right now is she just doesn't seem congruent. I don't think that the words she's saying, even though she says them well, fits the role of this person that came rolling in on a motorcycle to fight for her title again, and doesn't fit the person who's coming out to the ring with the animal skull mask, and the way she carries herself in the ring. It feels like there are three very interesting people all trying to be the same one person instead of one person being great at one of those things.
Let's talk about the eventual match that featured Ember Moon. Our promo kind of ended up in a dust-up, and we had Rhea Ripley teaming with Ember against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. On paper, as a unit, as much as I like Dakota and Raquel Gonzalez, this was definitely an exhibition for Ember Moon's skills. She is a lot faster than she was, a lot more flexible than what she was when she left. Dare I say, her overall 2K rating will increase, but it still seems to be something missing. Now, I'm not a hater. Yes, I am a hater, but how about her? I'm not a hater about Ember Moon. And I hate to say what's missing, but I guess the question is, if you already had these 2 episodes in the can, and you're watching the tape as a producer, Jack, what do you try to course correct to put Ember on that path to being authentic?
I think you got to figure out what she is. One of those things that we talked about, I think they're all great. I agree. I think she was great in the ring. I think she did a good job. I think she was everything you want from her in the ring. Again, I think the way she speaks on a mic is great. I think the way she looks is great, but you got to say, is she the kind of person that makes corny jokes, or is she the kind of person that rides a cool motorcycle, or is she the kind of person that wears animal skulls on her face? Like, what is she? Because none of those things go together, if that makes sense. You can kind of blur together cool motorcycle rider with animal skull like some Mad Max character. Cool, I get that. But that character isn't like, I know it's corny. Right? So I think you've got to, right now, she's like with sculpting, they always say every stone is a great sculpture. You just got to chip away the parts you don't need.
I never heard that before.
And so I think right now she's a great sculpture, but there's certain things you got to look at and go, let's chip away certain things. Let's chip away the corny stuff. Let's chip away the fun stuff. But let's keep all this other stuff that's a great sculpture. Like I said, the corny thing is really getting to me. Like the kind of
I agree with you.
The trying to be kind of funny is kind of getting to me. I think if she came in and had more of like that, Mama wants her title back, I'm wearing this, I'm the biker who's ready to come beat some people up, I think we look at this totally differently. That corny thing, as little as it was, I think was just that little bit that makes you go, oh, you're not really who you say you are.
So I'm probably dating myself, but when she said, I have to tell you something, I know it's corny, I thought it was going to be like a Seven situation. Like Dustin Runnels, WCW, I have a gimmick, screw the gimmick, I'm being myself. And when it wasn't, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then you tag with Rhea Ripley, who was like really about that. And it was like, what is going on? It was a really weird situation there. But let's talk about Rhea real quick, because I don't want to bag on Ember too much. Here's somebody who looks like she's always a threat to the Women's Championship, but never is quite there. She's buzzing around it. Now she's in the tag match. Obviously tonight was about Ember Moon. But Rhea Ripley should be the number 1 contender, or no?
She's a perennial number 1 contender. She's not terrible. The champion. She's just, you just automatically slot her in whatever division she's on. If she stays on NXT, number one contender. She goes to Raw, number one contender. SmackDown, number one contender. If AEW found her, number one contender. She went to Impact, number one contender. If she found herself in whatever division she's in, number one contender.
Impact would give her the strap off the boat, but okay.
So, I mean, they wouldn't have to. She'd take it from them. That's how good she is. But again, so people, people always think they know what they want. And I think a lot of people are like, yeah, she should be the champion. She should get a title shot. Give it time, folks. She's like 23 or something like that. She's so young. And I'm not saying that like you shouldn't get something just because you're young, but like we have time. Let her do this stuff kind of in the middle of the show or with other people where she can continue to build up wins, because a lot of people who shake their head, and you're shaking your head, Flobo.
Yeah,
let me
like
tell you.
Man.
No, because this is what happens. People get what they want. There's people like Rhea Ripley become champion, and before you know it, we're all talking about her like she's John Cena, going, she always wins. It's always about her. It happened to Charlotte Flair. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's enjoy the ride getting there instead of just giving all the titles to her right off the bat. It's okay that she's not the champion. She's great as she is. And for all we know, she's going to be on SmackDown in a week anyways.
Yeah, I shake my head at you because of the age thing. Because when I was 23 years old, people your age were telling me to slow down. I was like, you don't know my life. It's hard being 23. This is the hardest life it's ever going to be. So shut up. No. But at the same time, there's a certain window there where you're perennial for a point. I remember when Al Snow got a title shot on SmackDown. I was like, that clown? He's been around forever. Why would I give it? In fact, if Kofi Mania didn't happen organically and Kofi was slotted into WrestleMania or into that chamber, I'd have been like, why? He's been around for so long. So I understand the need. Like I look at JR this week saying, The Miz will never be world champion again because it has been so long that we said, okay, I think that's where he is now. I think that's why fans get so antsy.
I think the difference here is let's put things into perspective. Rhea Ripley has been the champion. It's not like she's never been champion before. So it's not like when is her time going to come? She's had her time. She's been the champion before. This isn't like we're still waiting for her to have that opportunity. She's had it. And in fact, she had it less than a year ago. So it's not like it was that long ago. I think, especially we look at the time right now, there's no crowds. There's none of the excitement of people being there. None of this, this is all going to be different once crowds come back. I think there's a lot of things are on hold right now. There's a lot of placeholders right now. And that's why I don't get too worried about her waiting.
I worry all the time. Moving on.
Keeps you up at night.
Yeah,
Rhea Ripley.
What's going to happen? She look at my DMs.
No.
Let's talk about. No, she won't. This is pairing of Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. This is a quote from Bleacher Report. It says, Maverick and Dane have been paired together for a reason. Maverick is a good comedy performer that can sell a hard-fought victory. Dane is extremely talented, but has limited upside in the ring, working better in spurts of action. Jack Farmer, do you agree?
100%. I mean, this is great for both of them. It's a win-win. I love Strange Bedfellows tag teams. I love these guys not getting along. I think that the entrance music bit was funny. I thought it was that song slapped too. How did you feel, by the way? You're the music producer. You get the phone call and they're like, hey, can you make some music for this new tag team? We need it tomorrow. And it's just going to be some stupid joke that we're never going to use again. So you got to stay up all night making this song, knowing that it's going to be stupid.
You mean for the former 24/7 champion, Drake Maverick? Of course.
The former.
Sign me up.
But I think where this is great is it gives Killian a reason for me to care about him. Again, something we go back to all the time. Why do I care about you? Killian needed that. He's definitely a tough-looking guy, strong-looking guy, bruiser-looking guy, and we needed something more than that. And someone like Drake, who I think as fans you just gravitate to, especially after him getting laid off and then brought back and all this stuff. Even if he's silly, you're just drawn to him. He's very lovable, but they also play it really well. I love the way they won this match with the power bomb as Drake's going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It was fun. It was great. And it's one of those things that, do they need to go take on the champions right now? No. But Was it fun? Do I like seeing them? Do I want to see what they do next week or in the following few weeks? Do I want to follow Drake on Twitter to go see how he tries to interact with Killian while getting completely ignored? Yes, that's great. It's good entertainment, and that's what we want from these kind of shows.
Not worried about when humor gets into NXT that it gets accused of being too main roster-y.
For what was that?
When humor gets injected into NXT, there's always that talk that Vince's hands get into it, like the Bro Show. Blah, blah, blah.
No, look, comedy is a part of pro wrestling. It is, and people can say that all they want. NXT hasn't been great about comedy in their shows for a long time. So you know what? Maybe they're getting told we should add some comedy in, but I think comedy's good. It breaks up. Not everything needs to be Tommaso Ciampa going psycho and people talking about ending careers and all this other stuff. Like, it's nice to have some. You need a little sweet to make the sour taste good. You know what I mean, Flobo? You need a little bit of both. And I think this is done tastefully and well. It's not like they're coming out dressed up stupid and doing silly things and like dancing in the middle of matches and stuff like that. It's fun. They're still staying true to themselves in the process, and that's what makes it good.
Cool. I'm with it. I like it. That song did slap. But I got some questions to ask you, man. I want you to put your thinking caps on because this one here is a doozy. So we had a match tonight. The future face of the brand, maybe, Shotzi Blackheart against Bootang Xia Li. Xia Li, of course, has been dealing with a stretch of losses dating back to about a month ago. But Boa from the Breakout Tournament and fellow Chinese superstar shows up with a letter, and they walk out together, Xia Li and Boa. What was on the letter, and what's on the horizon for Xia Li?
Yeah, Xia Li's had a tough run of it because she's also more aggressive and she's been doing really cool things. I think she's catching a lot of people's eyes, particularly Bo's apparently, and but she has just been very unfortunate in the buzzsaws she's been running into. And momentum's a real thing, but she seems to keep going up against people who already have the momentum while she's still trying to get hers going. Boa coming out makes this very interesting. And the first thing I thought when I saw it is, does the Robert Stone brand have competition in the suited up manager department, Flobo?
It's the whole department.
It's a very particular department. It's third floor of Macy's.
I didn't get the invite. I think you did, though.
No. I'm a Nordstrom guy, Flobo.
Oh, of course. Of course you are, Fancy Jack.
No. So I think this would be good for her. I think it's very interesting on where this could be going and what it could be doing. Because I think maybe Boa sees, much like you see and I see, that Xia Li is a talent. She's got everything you want. She's someone who's going to be successful. You just need to find a way to get that momentum going for her so that she can start racking up some wins instead of butting her head against someone like Shotzi Blackheart, who's kind of, as we said before, got a rocket strapped to her back, is going to be a huge star. And I don't see many people stopping her for a long time.
Yeah, I just wonder what it is. Is it like a new faction? Is it a management thing? Is it going to be a training regimen? Is there a whole different program? Is she going to host the inverse Halloween Havoc? I have no idea.
I just don't want her to join one of Akira's ninja squads.
Oh man, that would be, because she's Chinese. There's no Chinese. Okay, whatever.
That would not be a good look for anybody.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a terrible look across cultures.
But
I think about someone like Xia, who's been around there for a long time. She's now turned heel. I wonder, again, back to the injuries, if it's kind of like, hey, here's somebody who came to work every week for years. Everyone else is kind of down. Let's give her a shot. Or it's kind of like, or it's the opposite of, hey, it's your time now. We'll build these stars because we're not developmental with a third brand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know which ones.
Well, they are developing stars, and that's what they do. They develop the stars, and they're developing her, and they're developing and helping her to grow. And I don't know. You're right. I agree. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're going to do. We don't, in debates, we don't cut mics, Flobo. That's the rule.
Apparently not. I'm talking now. No, go ahead.
We're keeping it relevant, people.
Yeah, we're keeping it relevant.
Keeping it topical. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're going to do. I like factions, so I'd love to see them start bringing on some people. I don't know who else they would bring on, though, to their faction. That would be a very interesting interesting thing. I wonder if they have more people lined up, or I'd be fine if it's just Boa managing her, or if they manage each other, or whatever the case is.
Yeah, speaking of factions, the Garganos get a special gift this week from Indy Hartwell. Well, apparently she's making so much bank, she gives them a TV with a USB stick. Would you want to see Indy Hartwell join the Garganos as a faction, or is some kind of shenanigans and malarkey afoot?
The Garganos are interesting to me because I didn't like them at first. I wasn't really into this whole, thing they were doing. It's kind of growing on me, though.
It switched a bit.
It's kind of growing on me. I like them as this annoying next door couple. But the thing that really did it for me is Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano did this thing on this episode where I love that it started with Indy. Who cares about her? And like, oh, she bought us TV. I love Indy. Indy's great. She's good people. Yeah. I loved it. Maybe because I saw a little bit of myself in there.
You are a heel.
I was like, yeah, I think I'd like to have, if someone bought me a TV, they'd be my best friend too. I like how this is going. I love how they sort of played back the old Battle Royal, because I didn't really notice that Indy was necessarily saving Candice LeRae. But then seeing that little video, you're like, oh, I guess she kind of did. That's interesting. And it's interesting to see where it's going to go or what it's going to mean. I want to see more of Indy as well, Indy Hartwell. So I like where this is going. I don't know if it's them teaming or what, but yeah.
I agree with you. When they were supposed to be like the hellspawn of it all, it was kind of like, yeah, you're not really Ciampa, you're kind of annoying, but them pivoting into like this, like the Muffy and Buffy down the street that have a little toy dog and they go to soccer practice and Pilates courses, people you hate just because they are doing that much better than you slightly. Yeah. I think that's their lane. That's what it should have been the first time. That's a heel character I can hate and love to hate, or hate and appreciate, rather than going, what the hell is this?
Well, and back at Takeover, I think it was, where they were getting interviewed and they're like, you did a great job, great interview. And as soon as the interviewer left, they were like, that was horrible. What is she doing? Let's never talk to her again.
Yeah, that was on brand.
It was just, it's great. Like, now, I don't know how that translates into them in the ring. I think I feel like that's a Flobo topic, a point where like, hey, this is great, but how does it translate into being a wrestler? That's an interesting thing to me. I don't know. I think that's maybe where my disconnect was before, but as of now, I think they're annoying and obnoxious, and that's great. I think it's fun.
I'm not sure I want to tell everyone about your business, but you do have a significant other, and I know when I had a significant other, there was always those couples you couldn't stand, but you did things together anyway for whatever reason. And I think that they're the perfect couple, the fun couple. We're like, oh, the Gargano's coming over. Oh, great!
Right,
that's awesome. Right. Brunch. Oh,
right. Where you have to invite them or you have to hang out with them, but you're kind of, I don't want to. These guys, you know. We're that couple, me and my.
We had the fun couple. Like Brian and Kelly are going to this wine tasting up in Sonoma. It's like, well, you can go with them. Let me know how it turns out. Oh, that's the wrong answer. I'm so sorry. It's almost time for us to get out of here. Before we do, there's a brand new segment here on Draped in Gold. It's called One to Watch, powered by GMRwear.com. Make sure you use the promo code Flobo for a 10% discount. Jack Farmer. You saw NXT. You saw NXT UK. If one person was the MVP on each of those shows, or both combined, who would you pick?
We need to make it known right now that I had no idea this was going to be a topic. So I'm doing this right off the top of my head. I'm going to say, and this is going to be a little controversial, but I think if you could buy stock in a wrestler right now, that's my favorite term, I would say you need to start putting all your money into Austin Theory. Right now, he's going through a little bit of a rehabilitation, but he's going to be a big star. Look, this is what happens. You come back, you take a few L's, you get a small dub, you take another L. He's in a slow process to get things up and going again. And all the controversies that haunted him are starting to feel farther and farther into the past. Right or wrong, we're starting to forget about him. And we're starting to see him as a talented wrestler. He was compared to Randy Orton today on commentary. The one to watch, the guy to invest in, the person who's going to be the big star down the road is Austin Theory.
I have to give you that one. My choice, though, would be Xia Li. Here's someone that was knocking about, was in the Royal Rumble this year. She turned for a reason. I wasn't quite sure what that reason was, but her workouts are so 5-star. But now she's getting a storyline, and compared to her storyline with Aaliyah, it was never like based on pillow fights, never based on shoving anyone backstage. And here's somebody who could be in potentially a breakout star for 2021. Xia Li is my individual to watch. Now, Jack, about time to get out of here, man. We got some shows to watch and things to do and people to see and whatnot and couples to avoid. Where can the world find you online, good sir?
You can find me at jackcfarmer.com as well as at RealJackFarmer across all social media. You can also check me out on the Anytime Radio Show every single Monday. You can find those shows at www.theanytimeradioshow.com. You can also check me out on Elite Peak of the Week every Tuesday, where I pick a quick 2-minute segment to talk about why you should be watching AEW Dynamite. I also do Elite of the Week every Wednesday, breaking down all the stuff that happens on AEW Dynamite. I also do the Everything Tournament on Tuesdays, where me, Flobo, Evan Mack, and Heidi Mack, we all take everything and we battle it out until one thing is the winner. What will be the king of everything? Got to tune in to find out on Tuesdays. And I do Draped in Gold on Thursdays, which you can find right here on the Flobo Voice Network.
Right here, right now, y'all. Yeah, lead the week, man. Every Wednesday I cross over the other side of the Wednesday Night War. That's a lot of fun. But you can follow me at Flobo Voice across all social media platforms. I can say that now. And the Everything Tournament featuring Heidi and Evan Mack. And this week on our sister podcast, New Amsterdam Radio, Part 1. For a 2-part special where I sit down with the House of Mack, Evan T. Mack and Heidi Mack, and ask them how they do it as a couple, as individuals, how they help each other grow, how can they be the fun couple of digital content. A lot of fun. But, you know the deal, until this next time, I am out, Jack is out, we're both out on Draped and Gold.